Hello and welcome to Our Waking Dream. I am your host, Coco Swanson. I'm a spiritual strategist, mentor, and forever seeker. On this channel, this show, this podcast, depending on where you're listening, it has a different title. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the platforms. And in this show, I go over a basic astrology theme that's moving through each week. And I teach it in a way that, fingers crossed, is beginner friendly. And so that you can drink it up and experience it. Experience the themes that are moving through the astrology and how they land in your life. This said, if you can think of it like a weather report, and some weather hits one place more than it does another. And think of it like that with your chart. Like your natal chart, which is what was going on in the sky when you were born, that's like your fingerprint. And whenever there's a current transit, which means what's going on currently in the sky, whenever there's a transit, it hits your chart like weather. And some weather will hit you more than others. And that's, for me, the weather hits harder when the planets right now, the sun, we'll consider a planet, it's a cosmic orb, or the other actual planets like Mars, Mercury, Venus, Uranus, when they land in my chart in a way that creates geometry, that's when it lights up in my life, which to me is just mind-blowing how astrology works. I like that I can't actually wrap my mind around it in a way that's like fully satisfying to explain why it works. Yet I definitely have seen it working 100% of the time. And I know I've said that a lot. I just think that's noteworthy, that a far off cosmic weather report, metaphoric language is so precise. How cool is that? Okay. This week, we're going to be focusing on the planets of Mercury and Saturn in the signs of Virgo and Pisces. If you all have been here for a minute with me, we've talked about Virgo and Pisces a handful of times because they're really lit up in the chart right now in the sky. And so Mercury just experienced what it's called a cazimi in the sky, and that was yesterday on September 13th. Can you hear the siren in the background? I'm so curious. I film outside often, and so you'll hear wind, you'll hear little sirens. We adjust the sound, but nonetheless, so you're in my life. Mercury, the planet of communication. Think communication, it's how we listen. It's the stories in which I create in my head about what I'm listening to. It's how it goes through my operating system. That's Mercury really focuses on this. Mercury brings about communication. And the themes of how we're communicating, how we're thinking are indicated by the zodiac sign that Mercury is visiting. So Mercury, how accurately are we listening? How quick are we to judge? How quick are we to criticize? How quick are we to jump into thought versus listening with our whole body? Have you listened with your whole body? Has that been a practice that you've done before? Of dropping out of analysis and just letting somebody's experience, the full experience that they are having? wash through your system, suspending thought while listening and focusing instead on your breath and on the beauty of the person in front of you, that alone will help. Well, that's a tool this week that we'll be talking more about, because with Mercury, I'm curious what in this week and in the last week has been illuminated for you. Because Mercury just had a cazimi. It means the sun came conjunct cazimi. That's what it means. The sun conjuncts a planet. And it illuminates, it brings about an aha of whatever that planet is offering you right now. Mercury and the sun had a cazimi in the sign of Virgo, and Mercury's just moving through Virgo. The sun is too. And on the 17th, so just in a few days, it's opposing Saturn. So Mercury, what has been illuminated in the last couple days, but then also this week, notice what ahas, or it's in Virgo, it's in the last degree of Virgo, which it's really looking at cleaning up Virgo. If something's in the last, it's called the anaretic degree of a sign. It means it's in the last, it's like Mercury is visiting. It's Mercury and the sun visiting Virgo. So is the South Node. We'll leave that be right now. But at that final degree of Virgo, it's time to clean up any of the mess we made in Virgo. So what kind of mess is a Virgo mess? It's where we look at the shadow, the underbelly of Virgo. So although Virgo is exceptionally discerning, yay, exceptionally good at making a list, checking it twice, seeing details if we need to tend to anything in our world, Virgo is like the sign to do it. I mean, that's tending to our harvest. What have we created and how can we sort it, move what we no longer need out, create systems for what we do need, and tend it moving forward. So that's Virgo in its glory, but Virgo in its underbelly, in its shadow, is about judgment. It's about being overly critical. It's about being nitpicky and maybe inactive because we're worried about the details so much. It could stop you in your tracks because you're overthinking and overanalyzing the little details of everything. So in what ways are you nitpicking, judgmental, overcritical, and how has that been illuminated in the last couple days if you're listening to this live or on the 14th? And also during this week when Mercury opposes Saturn, which I'll layer next, it's important. This is an important opportunity. So I love thinking of challenging times. I mean, really, any challenging time is an opportunity for me to learn a lesson that my soul is really, really aching to learn and to level up. Where I'm leveling up to, who knows? But I'm leveling up in that theme that I've been working in, whatever's causing me suffering. So with this, who or what are you judgmental of and nitpicking right now? That can point the compass at what area Mercury in Virgo is landing in your life. This can be internal judgment. It can be external judgment. It can be at the personal level. It can be at the professional level. It can be deep, deep, deep at the place of like emotional belonging. I mean, it could hit at any house in the zodiac. So a curiosity, it's personal, professional, planetarily, politically. Where are you feeling the most charge and the most judgment? That points at what we want to restructure, create boundaries with, feel out the emotions. This is Saturn. Let's drop in Saturn now, opposing Mercury on the 17th. Oppositions. We have all these in astrology. The math, it's so cool to me that it's so precise, and it's about geometry. So when we have an opposition, we need to make room for both sides of the opposites, like both sides. The more we expand and follow directions, doing healing work around both sides and actualizing the potential of both sides of an opposition, the more we level up in that opportunity. So we've got Saturn retrograde in the last degree of Pisces. That means Saturn, before it enters into Aries, that for another round around the whole zodiac for the next 27 years, like it won't be at this spot for almost 3 decades again. Saturn's, 27 or so year cycle. So if Saturn is at the anaretic degree of Pisces, we're restructuring all things at that last degree of the zodiac. What does that mean? Let's see about my notes. It's Saturn revisiting Pisces. It's about editing, it's restructuring. For me, it's old narratives, because how I hold a situation, if I hold a situation, even if it's atrocious, but if I back up, if I zoom out far, far, far away enough to hold the situation as holy, even the atrocities, I have to zoom out pretty far and say this is all part of this unraveling of the patterns that we're playing out as humans. Whatever it is whatever space I need to take to see whatever's happened in my life, we're talking the worst of the worst in my life, I have chosen over time to hold as perfect, as exactly what I needed. To learn, to grieve, to let go, and to receive the next layer of becoming. Saturn's kind of nebulous. It's hard to, Saturn is not nebulous. What is nebulous is Pisces. Saturn's super structured. Saturn is about structure. Whereas Pisces is about the return to formless, the return to source. So what old stories, old emotions, old souls patterns, like old karmic patterns, have you been focused on, especially over this last little bit of time, but really over your whole life? What recurring karmic themes have moved through your life? Because right now is a time in this opposition to reimagine what you were here to learn, like really to take inventory. What if everything is holy? What if everything is holy? And in its holiness, I have something in my face. In its holiness, if we hold it as holiness, even the atrocious things, if we just hold them, if we're safe, if I'm in a safe place to hold my life and the trauma that's happened as holy, then it can cleanse. It can move out of my system. So I'm no longer holding that seed of trauma. You with me? What are some practices? Okay. Practice number 1 I was referring to already is witnessing. It's building the internal witness so you can observe when you're being critical, when you're being over judgmental, when you're stuck in a storyline, when somebody's talking to you, and observe yourself as you breathe. How quick are you to think, analyze, interpret? How quick are you to judge? How quick are you to really assume you know versus really opening to receive another's perspective? Just observe. And that's the tool number one. And that in itself is curative. Awareness itself is curative. That's a quote I learned from Stephen Harper, who learned from somebody. I'll have to ask him. Awareness itself is curative. Bring awareness into how you're perceiving your judgment, your criticism, your self-criticism, your nitpicky. That points to an area that right now, during this configuration, Mercury opposing Saturn, Pisces, Virgos, releasing judgment back to source is highly advantageous. Number 2, boundaries around your thoughts and emotions. Guess who's in charge of your thoughts and emotions? Sometimes I feel like I'm a victim to my thoughts and emotions. I'm not. I have the choice anytime to keep following a train of thought, to keep following emotions, or I can witness myself going down a train of thought that I don't want to be on, or an emotion that I don't want to repeat, and be like, oh, there it is, I spot you. And this is where all this silly somatic goes in. Gosh, that might be the name of some of my stuff, is silly somatics. Because we can't be judging if we're like, ooh, ooh, and we're doing like little boogies, or we're doing little shakes, or we're getting everything moving. We can't be judgmental while we're having fun. I don't think those two things exist at the same time. So boundaries around thoughts, internal discipline. When are you feeling judgmental, overcritical? When are you haunted? If you're haunted by something, for me, that's a need that points at the need to actually embrace what's haunting me. This is something I really learned from my mentor, Pat Heffron. I cannot express gratitude enough for her and my handful of mentors. I mean, I could actually start weeping if I sank into my gratitude for my mentors. So shout out, mwah, mwah, mwah. So many of them. If something's haunting me, it needs my love. It needs my embrace. It doesn't need me to push it away. And in fact, what I resist persists. But I can stop my train of thought. I can reframe. I can say, oh my gosh, this is a lesson that I've been learning 1,000,000 times this life. I recognize you. Thanks for coming to visit again. And then I can feel the feels, which is very important right now, to feel the feels in order to shift planes, in order to practice number 3, bless, to bless, and to create boundaries. Blessing and boundaries. Practice number 3, September 14th, this week, is really important. Blessing and boundaries. Who and what do you need space from in order to maintain unconditional love for the world? I need a lot of space from a lot of people, a lot of ideas, a lot of things, a lot in order to maintain my vibe. I am so sensitive. I need spaciousness in order to continue to love the world as it is, in order to continue to bless those I perceive have harmed me, or bless those in the leaders in the world that I see harming so many. I need spaciousness. I know that my offering to the world is through my heart, is through my love. That's the power center. And so if I have space, if I take space, so I can continue to love you from a distance, it's a gorgeous practice this week. To restructure our spiritual realms and our emotional realms by owning our thoughts, owning our judgment, owning our need for space in order to keep loving the world as it is, in order to re-perceive, in order to launch into this new phase of wherever we're going next. We need our heart and our love on board. That's it for this week. Good no bark, Elsa. That's my dog. She's oftentimes here and she just didn't bark. Good job. Blessing and boundaries. Until next week, thank you, thank you, thank you. Always feel free to reach out to me. I'm accessible. The newsletter has an extra little gift, either a journal prompting or a meditation that I make. Sign up for that. Pass this around. Make sure to review, etc. Mwah. Love, love, love. Mwah. Thank you for being a part of our community here at Our Waking Dream. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Fill my cup and let it overflow. Let it overflow with love.